the way we behave makes us happy or unhappy. My dear friends, before we start on the journey of conquer the success towards unconditional happiness, and I start discussing on various dimensions that we cover under conquer the success that leads you to unconditional happiness, in this video we would understand what are the ingredients, what are the reasons that we behave in a manner the way we are behaving, and that is leading me to unhappiness. And in the second part of the video we would also be discussing that how can we modify our behavior, change our behavior, so that the same situation, same people in my life start giving me happiness. This video is going to be a bit longer, but I am sure for those who want to achieve happiness and unconditional happiness in lives, they would be able to see this video from start to the end. I would like to keep this concept very simple, very straight, and very practical, so that those friends who have no exposure to psychology, who have not read psychology at all, can not only understand, but they can also correlate it from their own life experiences. So, my dear friends, I am Dr. Pankaj Gupta from Conquer the Success, having 51 years of life experience and 30 years of work experience. At Conquer the Success, we are committed to take you to success and unconditional happiness through trainings, counselings, hypnotherapy, past life regression, life between lives, meditations, and spirituality. So, stay connected. So let us understand what is our mind, how does it behave, right? So let's say this is mind, and mind is not brain. Brain is like a hardware and mind is like a software that works in that particular hardware, right? So mind can be divided into two important faculties. One is very small, just 5%. And we call this as conscious mind. Conscious mind is the faculty of thinking. Decision taking, reasoning abilities, what is right, what is not right for me. All these things are done by the 5% of the conscious mind. And then this bigger one, which is 95%, is known as subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is center of emotions, which means in my subconscious mind all the feelings are there, all my experiences from the childhood, they are also stored in subconscious mind, and they are stored in the form of memory. So my memory is also in the subconscious mind. Then we have habits, which are also in the subconscious mind. Then values. Values means my personal rule book, what is right, what is not right for me. And this is what I acquire from my religion. I call it as religious values, from the society, the social values, or my family values. They are all stored in the subconscious mind. And then the non-voluntary functions of the body, that is respiration system, all those functions which happen in our body without our wish, like the food we eat, the digestion of food, the respiration system, the blinking of eye, blood circulation, all these vital functions are non-voluntary and controlled by my subconscious mind. Now, behavior. In any given situation, we behave based on our conscious mind plus subconscious mind. Which means in a situation, how do I think and how do I feel? Right? So let us understand this by an example. Imagine that you four friends are traveling in a car and another car comes from behind and he's very rash driving, honking, dominating, and he overtakes you, right? Now all the four friends have witnessed the same experience, but their behavior might be different. One of them might think that there is no point in spoiling your mood because 90% of the people, 90% of the drivers, they have no sense of driving. So what he's doing is he's trying to avoid the situation. Now your second friend, he might open the window and shout. He's not even concerned that this person has already moved ahead. I mean, he has already overtaken me. He is not going to listen what I am saying, but still he has to be angry. So the second behavior in the given situation is, we can say, is anger. Now the third person, he might feel that because he overtake me, I will overtake him, a feeling of competition. And the fourth one might think that pull him out of the car and beat him, means a feeling of taking revenge. Now the question is, normally we feel that our behavior is based on external situations, external circumstances, the way the other people behave with me. But if this were true, then all the four friends have witnessed the same situation, so their behavior should have been same. But why is it different? It is because they have different personalities. Right? So the basic fundamental of behavior is that, let's say this is a situation and this is the personality, and when these two personalities interact, this becomes my behavior. If in the same situation there is another personality like this, then the intersection would become the second person's behavior. Right? So this is a small example, but we can understand a couple of things from this particular example. Now the first thing is that we are never free from our past. Right? Like, if you have any conflicts or any fight or any disagreements with anyone you know, maybe your family members, your friends, or your colleagues, we can say that there is a history of relationship involved. If there is a fight or any disagreement now, then all the earlier incidences, they also come in my mind and they trigger the behavior that is in the present. But when it comes to this particular person who has overtaken me, I don't even know this person. There is absolutely no history in that particular relationship. But still, if my behavior is different, which means that my entire personality, and what is personality? Personality is something which is not made in a day. It is a combination of all the experiences from the day we are born and till today. Which means all my past experiences are involved in my smallest of the behavior with someone where there is absolutely no history of relationship involved. Right? So the first thing that we can learn is that we are never free from our past. Right? Now the second thing we can learn is that, just see, the person who is avoiding, do you think that he feels that he is doing something wrong while avoiding? No. Maybe he would feel that others, those who are not avoiding in this particular situation, are doing something wrong. The one who is doing anger in this particular situation, do you think that he feels he is doing something wrong? No. He has his own justifications. So the second thing is that everyone has justification for his behavior. Right? And from morning till evening, one common statement that I listen from all my clients, they say, "Doctor, tell me who behaves like this in such a situation." When wife is talking about the husband's behavior, husband talking about the wife behavior, or kids talking about their parents' behavior, or parents talking about their kids' behavior, one very common statement I listen many times from morning till evening is, "Doctor, you tell who behaves like this in such a situation." Which means that we normally keep ourselves on a very high pedestal as far as the behavior is concerned. But because people have different personalities, they have different experiences, therefore the way you are behaving might be different, and had there been somebody else in your situation, he would have behaved differently. Now, if you understand this aspect of behavior, it would be easy for you to accommodate those persons' behavior who think or behave differently than you. Right? Now, the third thing that we can understand from this example or is this experience is, let's take a few glass flasks, let's take a few containers made up of glass and fill them with a different fluid. Let's say put water in one, put milk in one, put oil in one, and keep the fourth container empty. Right? Now take a stone and hit these containers. What would happen? Because they are made up of glass, obviously they would break. And when they would break, what will come out of it? Whatever is contained inside the container would automatically come out of it. It's very simple, right? But this container says, till now nothing has ever come out of me. And he is not wrong, because this container is not yet broken. So obviously nothing has yet come out of the container. And additionally what he says is, this stone is responsible to take water out of me. Water never comes out of me. We can say to this container that yes, what you are saying, maybe your observation seems to be right, but your analysis is absolutely wrong. Why? Because if this stone strikes a container which is empty, it can break that container, but it has no capacity to bring anything out of the container. And you understand it very well, that container has no intention to take anything out of the stone has no intention to take anything out of the container. Whatever is contained inside the container would come out of it as soon as the stone strikes and breaks the container. Right? Now, same way, whatever emotion is there, as I said, all my emotions are in the subconscious mind. So whatever emotion is there in my subconscious mind, that becomes my behavior. Right? So normally we feel that the other person who is behaving is like throwing a stone. And what is throwing a stone in behavior? It's something, any situation, any behavior which is not as per my expectations. And when things are not as per my expectations, then we say that it is like a stone, and whatever emotion is filled in my subconscious mind, it comes out in the form of behavior. It could be avoidance, the one who has a feeling of maybe fear or he's at peace with himself. In both the situations, maybe his behavior could be avoidance. The one who has anger would come out in his behavior. The one who has competition, whatever is there in the emotions in the subconscious mind, the same thing would come out of the container. Which means the third is, others are not completely responsible. Yeah, we can say that yes, this stone is just a trigger to bring the water out. That much statement would be right. Similarly, we can say the behavior of the other person can be just a trigger to bring the emotion which is inside my subconscious mind out in the form of my behavior. Right? So we can say that others are just a trigger, and whatever is in my subconscious mind would come out of it. Now with this concept, if I tell you that critic is your best friend, he improves your behavior, will you agree to me? No. Let's understand this in a little more detail. Who is a critic? A critic is a person who keeps on criticizing me, means keeps on throwing stones at me. Now when he throws a stone at me, obviously if anger is there inside me, my behavior would be angry, my anger would come out of it. Now with this concept, we can also understand that his stone, his criticism is nothing more a trigger, and it is helping me to analyze that the emotion within me at this point of time is anger. Now if I know this and if I have the intentions to improve, I can work on myself. And after some time, this critic will continue criticizing me, continue throwing stones at me, but my behavior could be that, okay, I start avoiding him. He is like that. Why to bother and why to spoil your mood like this? Which means now the emotion in my container subconscious mind is like I am at peace as far as this critic is concerned. Because of that peace only, my behavior is I'm avoiding you. Why to spoil your mood? He is like that only, right? And then when we further keep on working on ourselves, it is also possible that after some time he keeps on criticizing, and my behavior to him is, this poor chap, how much pain he takes just to find my mistakes and criticize me every day, and I am not even affected by this. So it means with this behavior I can say that the feeling that I have in my subconscious mind for this critic is a feeling of compassion, because I am even concerned for his pain. So if we see life with this particular situation, we can say that because of the critic, I got the opportunity to change my anger into peace, into compassion. Right? Now, this is one thing. Now, the second thing is, I said initially that my behavior is based on conscious and subconscious mind. But this is purely a theoretical statement. Practically, if you see, conscious mind is very small, just 5%, and subconscious mind is very big, that is 95%. Which means, under all practical situations and circumstances, it is my subconscious mind that governs my behavior. Now let's understand this also by an example. We all know that anger is bad. Who knows this? It is my conscious mind. So conscious mind knows that anger is bad, right? Because conscious mind is connected to the external world through the sense organs. Whatever we see, whatever we listen, everything comes to my conscious mind. So how we know that anger is bad? It is basically, we can say it is the part of my knowledge. Because the entire knowledge is in my conscious mind. Right? We have heard it, we have read it in books that anger is bad. Right? But in spite of knowing that anger is bad, why do we get angry? So let's understand this. So this mind knows very well that anger is bad. Let's see what is the state of affairs as far as anger is concerned in my subconscious mind. Okay. So as I said, subconscious mind has all the experiences since childhood. So let's see what are my experiences related to anger. When I was born, I was a small child, and in my family I always saw that my parents are fighting. Now, whether it's a less frequent fight or more frequent fight, but every family there is some or the other fight is always there. Who dominates? The one who is angry. Then I grew old, I started going to school. I have to do what my teacher says. Why? Because if I don't do it, then my teacher would be angry on me. Then I further grew old, I went to see the cinema, I see the movie, and who is the hero? The angry young man is the hero. Which means that based on the experiences from my childhood, anger got associated with domination. Means based on my experiences. Now, this subconscious mind has no intelligence, it has no thinking capability, it has no analytical powers. If I have to give the right word, I say that the subconscious mind, it acquires wisdom based on the experiences. So my knowledge, because it comes from the external world, is in the conscious mind, and my wisdom, which is in the subconscious mind through my experiences. Now, as per my wisdom, the experiences from my childhood, anger got associated with domination. Means whoever is angry, he dominates. Right? Now, let's understand, in psychology, associations is very important for the behavior understanding. Right? Let's understand what the association is. So, some psychologists, they have done the experiment with dogs. They have taken a dog in a lab, they gave him a piece of bread, and there was a salivation in the mouth of the dog. So it was the first phase of the experiment, giving the bread and saliva in the mouth. Then the second phase of the experiment was that a bell would ring, bread would be given, and there would be a saliva. Right? So this process continued, a ringing of bell, giving of bread, and then there is a saliva. And then the third phase of the experiment was the bell would ring, bread would not be given, and still there is a saliva in the mouth. Now, why it happened? Because based on the experiences of the dog, in his mind, ringing of bell and coming of bread got associated. Right? Similarly, in my mind, based on my experiences, anger got associated with domination. And see, associations are very deep. You know, salivation process is basically a part of non-voluntary function. It happens automatically. It has nothing to do with sound. You know, the saliva comes in my mouth. It could be because of the smell of the food, or it could be because of the taste of the food. But have you ever heard that a sound can bring salivation? But the conditionings, the associations are so deep that they can even modify my non-voluntary functions of the body. So coming back to this, because I know it is my wisdom, it is my experience that anger associated to domination, anger helps me to dominate. And what is domination? Domination is part of ego. And what my ego would like. If my wishes were true, I would like the whole world should listen to me. Right? That's what my ego expectation is. But we know very well that unfortunately this is not possible. So what my mind does, in every situation, first thing that my mind evaluates is, where can I dominate? And where can you dominate? You can dominate on someone who is weak. He could be physically weak, financially weak, emotionally weak, situationally weak, positionally weak, whatever form. But if he is weak, we can dominate that person. That's the first thing. The second thing which my mind constantly evaluates is where I want to dominate. Now, I just now said I want to dominate the whole world. Is there any place where I don't want to dominate? Yes. Where I love someone. You would have experienced that just because of love, people accept or handle or accommodate the tantrums of other persons. You know, the tantrums of the kids are accommodated by parents, girlfriends or boyfriends. Anywhere you love, love never wants to dominate. Right? So, in my mind, there is a constant evaluation. First is, where am I powerful? And second, where there is no love at this point of time. When these two conditions are satisfied, a signal comes that domination is possible. And what is the tool to dominate? Obviously, it is the anger, because that has just been associated based on my numerous examples and experiences of my life. Now, in this situation, my subconscious mind knows very well that because domination is possible, anger is the tool to dominate, so anger is good. Right? And my conscious mind always knows that anger is bad. So, as I said, because I know that anger is bad, I am never angry on anyone. It is this particular situation where I feel that yes, domination is possible in this situation, anger happens, because it is by a very powerful mind. The 95% of the mind knows that anger is good in this situation. So what will happen? The anger would happen. And if you see how many times we feel, we take a promise to ourselves, we do a promise to ourselves that I will not be angry on the same person, on the same issue. Like when I get the husband-wife relationship cases for counseling, I always say that there is no different reason or a new reason for you to fight every day. Same old two reasons of fight 4 times a day, and after 5 years, you are ready for taking a divorce. The situation is such that even before I say something to my partner, I know before saying what would be his reply, what would be his response. I even know the dialogue of the other party before I narrate my dialogues. This has been the dress rehearsal in so many years. How many times you have not thought about that, okay, there is no point in being angry at this point or with this person or on this particular issue. But still, because it is in the 95% that yes, I am powerful and there is no love at all in this moment of time, in the fit of emotions, what happens is the anger happens in my behavior. Now, why did I explain about anger in so detail? Because anger is one of the many emotions in the subconscious mind. And like anger, there are so many emotions, like fear is another emotion, complexes, guilt, trauma, unhappiness, jealousy, lack of love, self-criticism, and many things. Just to make the concept clear to you, I oversimplified the concept that whatever is in the subconscious mind would come out in your behavior as soon as there is a stone striking you. But if you see, practically, subconscious mind is such a big and complex container that it has a mix of emotions. So the right would be the emotion that is dominating at a given point of time. It governs my behavior. Right? Like I get so many cases. I remember one, he said, Doctor, when I am angry, everybody is afraid of me. You know, my parents, my kids, my wife, even at my workplace also, everybody is afraid if I am angry. But I don't understand my behavior, that there are certain times when I am so fearful. How is it possible that a person having anger, so much of anger, can be fearful, and a person who is fearful can be so much angry? So I tell this person that anger and fear both are emotions in your subconscious mind. Whenever anger is dominating whenever anger is a dominating emotion, you don't have fear at that time. And when you have fear as a dominating emotion, you don't have anger at that time. So the emotions keep on changing. The dominating emotion keeps on changing in your mind, and that keeps on changing the behavior. So with this, we can understand that change of behavior is absolutely easy. It's just on a snap of a finger, the behavior can change. Let me explain this also through an example. A few days back, parents had come to me for the counseling, and they told me, Doctor, last night there was a big fight between son and the mother. And son was at that time a 12-year-old child. Mom was furious, mom was angry. And she said, oh, you're dead for me and I'm dead for you. Don't show your face, get out of the house, and you are really wasting your life, you're not studying, and things like that. And she said all that what was there in anger. Now, when she was abusive, this child was 12 years, not a small child, he also equally abused the mom. And then mom tried to hit the child. And when she tried to hit the child ran away, and then he locked himself in his own room. The moment he locked himself in his room, mom had an idea, or she had a thought, that he should not harm himself. He's already in anger. He should not harm himself. So what happened is, the dominating emotion in mom, that was anger, in just a fraction of a second, by a single thought that he should not harm himself, the dominating emotion became fear. And the moment the dominating emotion was fear, her behavior has changed, her pitch has changed, her volume has gone down, and she was trying to be pampering, oh my dear child, I love you, that's why I am angry on you, and it's only for your welfare, it is only for your good career, for your success in life, come out of the room, open the door. How much time did it take to change the behavior of this mom? It's just a fraction of a second, right? So the difficult part is to change the emotions. Behavior is very easy to change. Now, I hope with this understanding you have understood the way you are behaving, why you are behaving. The entire past experiences make you behave the way you are behaving in the present. So I hope this concept is clear to you. In case you have any questions, you can write them in the comments and I will be covering them in the upcoming videos. Now the second part is how to improve the behavior, right? Now, there are two ways that we can improve the behavior. One is when we work at the conscious mind level. This is known as counseling. So what is counseling? Counseling is, because we are talking to a logical faculty of the mind, counseling is giving a new perspective to look at things, right? Nothing would change in your life through counseling. Neither the people's behavior towards you would change, nor the challenges of the life would change, nor situations. Nothing would change in your life. But then if you see the same life with a different perspective, you start getting improvement. And all my clients who have done only counseling, they have experienced around 50 to 60% improvements, right? Now, whatever I am saying, you can go through my customer reviews. The link of the Google customer reviews is given in the description of this particular video. You can go through it. You can understand how my clients are feeling after they take the services of Conquer the Success. So 50 to 60% improvement my clients are getting, even if they are taking only counselings, right? Now what is improvement? Let us define that also. All these emotions that we have written, anger, fear, guilt, complex, trauma, whatever it is, they give me only one particular emotion, and that is unhappiness. Whether you are angry, you feel unhappiness. Whether it is lack of love, you feel unhappy. Whether it's a complex, you feel unhappy. And what we want in life, through all the things, good health, good wife, good partner, good money, good career, we need only one thing, that is happiness. So when I say that my clients are getting 50 to 60% improvement, they are getting improvement in terms of their happiness. And 50 to 60 is a big percentage of happiness through counseling. Fortunately, by the grace of my masters, I have two additional skills other than counseling. First is, I come from spiritual background. I have a lot of experience and knowledge about spirituality. So whenever I do counseling, I include spiritual dimensions also. Now, how spirituality can take you to unconditional happiness, or how spirituality is a step ahead of psychology, we would be discussing that at length because it's a different concept. But just to make you understand what I'm saying in a single liner, I would say, if unconditional happiness were possible through psychological counseling, then all the psychologists would have attained the state of unconditional happiness or enlightenment. But if you see, many of the famous renowned psychologists, they were very they were in a lot of pain and unhappiness at the time of their death. And on the other side, if you see the spiritual masters, they attained the state of unconditional happiness. The challenges that the society was giving to them was much more enormous than we are having the challenges in our life at this point of time. You know, those were the people who were crucified. Those were the people who were asked and forced to drink the poison. Those were the people whose organs were cut, whose head was cut. Their kids were thrown into the boiling oil. I mean, these were the level of challenges, the tortures which these spiritual masters were getting in their lives. But in spite of those challenges, why we remember them is because they attained the state of unconditional happiness. And not only did they achieve it, they made the paths very clear. They had shown us the path that we walk on those paths, and we also attain the state of unconditional happiness or a state of enlightenment. So by the grace of God, with my knowledge of spirituality, when I do counseling, I include spirituality also, that adds to the happiness of the person. And the second thing is, my expertise is in the subconscious mind also. And when I only do counseling, because my expertise is in the subconscious, I also include the techniques so that more and more data go on into the subconscious mind. Right? But anyway, if my clients are happy, 50-60%, if there is improvement in their happiness, I am so happy for them. But counseling cannot give you 100% improvement. Reason being, the 95% of my mind, which is having all these negative emotions based on experiences, it would always bounce back. Right? So, if we need 100% improvement in happiness, we can do hypnotherapy. I call this as mind therapy because when I work at this level, I not only include hypnotherapy, but I include healings, I include meditative therapies and many things. So I give it a common name, that is mind therapies. Right? So what we do in hypnotherapy or what we do in mind therapy is, the first thing that we do is we clean the experiences. Now, is it possible to clean the experiences or the no, absolutely not possible. But is it needed? So what do we clean? We basically clean these emotions. We clean these emotions. If you see, my behavior is not governed by the experiences, but it is governed by the emotions that we get through the experiences. Let's understand this also by an example. Imagine that you have a very close friend, and unfortunately one day you know that he lost his father. Obviously, because he's a close friend, you will feel bad about him. And compare this emotion to an emotion when unfortunately one day you learn that you lost your own father. Now, do you think, even though the incidence is same, that is loss of father, do you think that you have the same emotion in both the cases? No, there would be a lot of difference. Now I tell you another example at this point of time. A few years back, there was a child of around 22 years, a young man of 22 years, and he was coming for counseling and mind therapies, and his parents were also coming for the parent counseling. And one day he called me, he said, "Doctor, I gave a big blow on the chest of my father that at least a couple of his ribs are broken, and he is faint now. And I know that out of his ego, he will not go to the hospital. If something happens to him, everybody in the family would blame me. So please call my mom, ask her to take my father to the hospital." Now, why this child could hit the father on his chest so strongly? Because when he was a small child, or rather I would say since he was a small child, he has seen his father always coming drunk, beating his mom, beating this child also when he was a small one. His younger sister was also being beaten by the father. And with this painful memories, if now father comes drunk and he tries to be a little abusive to mom or anyone, then he hits him or he fights with him. In the situation, okay, the thing happened that he hit him so hard that he fall on the ground this time. But then, say after a few more years, this boy realizes that his father is dead. Do you think he would feel sad or he would feel relieved? He would be more relieved than sad. So basically, the same experience may have different emotions in different persons. Whatever emotions that we get based on the experiences, that drives my behavior. So what we do is, there is absolutely no point in cleaning the experiences which are on the memory, which is not even possible, because when I take people into past life regressions, I can refresh their memories of the past lives also. So there is no way that we can clean the memory of a person. So what is required is only to clean the emotions so that these emotions do not affect in my present behavior. And the second thing that we do is, after the cleaning, we need to heal the wounds. Healing of the mind. Now, why healing is required? When people come to me and they express their pain areas, what they had experienced in their life, Maybe the reasons of pain were very old, but still when they remember that, the tears they roll down on their cheeks, as if the wounds are very fresh now. Their psychological wounds needs to be healed. So in the next thing that we do through the therapies is we do the healing of the wounds. And since I come from spirituality, I do healing at two levels. One is at the level of soul and another is level of a subconscious mind. When we are in a process of continuous pain in life, my soul also gets disintegrated. And that also needs to be healed, and we do that in one of these sessions. After the cleaning is done, the healing is done. Can we say that my experiences of life would stop? No. Every moment of life is a new experience for us, and new experiences would again give me new negative emotions, and then you have the negative behavior. So do you mean that you have to come to me every time for cleaning or healing? No. It's absolutely as simple as, like, when we were a small child, my mom taught me how to take a bath. Since morning till evening, I am busy. There's a lot of sweat on my body. Dirt and dust is also there. The smell is also there. But I am absolutely not worried. Why? Because I know I'll take a shower in 10 minutes and I'll be fresh. So likewise, the way we take the physical bath every day, the next thing is we need to maintain the healed state by taking a psychological bath every day. Right? Now, we have cleaned the mind, we have healed the mind, we have learned the maintenance techniques also. What for? Obviously, it is to feed the positive emotions. You take a utensil, you clean it. What for? So that you can put something, some milk or some food or some vegetable into it. Similarly, when we are doing a process of cleaning, healing, maintaining, the very purpose is to feed the positive emotions. Now, if all these negative emotions are in my subconscious mind, love will also be in the subconscious mind, because this is also an emotion. Happiness, confidence, courage, joy, thrill, and all these positive emotions. So through the next session of hypnotherapy, we feed the positive emotions. And once you have the positive emotions as the dominating emotions in your subconscious mind, behavior change is just a matter of a fraction of a second. So there is nothing to lose hope that if your life has been a series of painful incidences or memories, if there are lot of psychological scars and wounds in your personality, in your past, where you were not basically a culprit, but basically you were a victim, there is absolutely nothing to worry. I guarantee one thing to all my clients, that is unconditional happiness. So through this, we guarantee 100% improvement, that is an unconditional happiness. I try to explain it in as maximum details I could, giving you a lot of examples which you can correlate from your own life to understand, so that this concept is not, it doesn't appear a little difficult for you. It is something which should be understandable from your own life experiences. You can link this knowledge to your life experiences. But still, if you have any questions or doubt, you can ask me by putting the questions in your comment box, and I would be replying them in the videos to come. So my dear friends, with this, I invite you to a journey of unconditional happiness. Good luck to you.